of Ellis Cotton and Sophia Anderson and what they've done and how they've achieved within this program. With that, join me in welcoming our U.S. Congressman, Mr. Bill Foster.
All right. No, before we go on, we discovered the top quark, not the top quirk. To discover the top quirk, you have to actually be elected to the United States Congress. But it's an honor to be with you here today. And for those of you who don't know me, I am in fact Bill Foster, a scientist and businessman, and it is my honor to represent the Illinois 11th Congressional District in the United States Congress, which is an institution, I might add, that could use some serious counseling and anger management. But I'd like to thank FSS Coordinator Ardale Evans for inviting me to speak today, President Arvid Johnson for hosting this ceremony, Housing Authority of Joliet CEO Michael Simulton, and his staff, and Mark and all of his staff, for the hard work that they've done for our community. You know, Liberty Meadows was mentioned, and when the mayor and I went on our inaugural drive where he showed me where all the bones were buried around the city, Liberty Meadows was something that just makes everyone smile. And it's a perfect example for those of us that believe in good government and government really helping people. Everyone should smile at that. And this program is a perfect example of government giving people a hand up instead of just a handout. And this is, you know, it's doing exactly what should be done. But most of all, I want to congratulate the first graduating class of the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. The graduates here today have contributed rigorous and challenging courses that will improve not only their lives, but the lives of their families. Programs like the Family Self-Sufficiency Program are exactly the type of educational and training programs that our government should be investing in to support families and our communities. FSS has given these graduates the skills, the education, and the training that they need to achieve the American dream. To those of you who are graduating today, this ceremony may feel like an ending. After all your hard work of the last few years, you can look back at where you were when you enrolled in FSS 1,860 days ago, is that? Yes. And to see where you stand now and to be proud of what you've accomplished. But this is not the ending. This is a new beginning. We have a proud tradition in our country of working to build a better future for ourselves and our children. And you are all continuing that tradition. You are living the American dream, working hard and building a brighter future for yourself, your family, and our community. But as you all know well, it's not easy. Life is full of peaks and valleys and detours when you want to follow the road straight ahead. I'm proud to say I also have been able to live the American dream. When I was a 19-year-old kid, my little brother and I started a business in our basement with $500 from borrowed from my parents to start our company. And it was pretty slow and tough sledding for quite a while. There were lots of setbacks along the way. And we came very close to total failure more than a few times. But we worked through the hard times and the adversity, and now the company employs over 500 people, and it manufactures over half of the theater lighting equipment in the United States. But after being lucky enough to have started and created a successful business, and following that up by a career in science, I started to think about giving back. Because that is what everyone who's not receiving an award in here that's in this room is doing that, giving back to our community. And as you continue to work your way up, those of you who are graduating here today, there's something important that I hope, a question that you will ask yourselves. What can I do to give back to my community and to my fellow man? I didn't start thinking too much about this until just a few years ago when my father passed away. My dad was a civil rights lawyer who wrote much of the enforcement language behind the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Like me, my father was trained as a scientist, and like most of his generation, his career was set aside by World War II. And during the war, he was called upon to design fire control computers for the Navy. And most of the way through the war, started getting these reports of how many people had been killed by his team's equipment this week. and he became very unhappy with the idea of his technical skills being used to harm other human beings. So he came back from the war, thought about it for a while, and decided that he wanted to spend part of his life in service to his fellow man. This was back in the 1950s, at the birth of the civil rights movement. My dad had grown up in the South, and he saw firsthand the struggles for equality and basic human rights. And he saw civil rights as the great cause of his generation, and he decided to get involved. And so he left behind his career in science and decided to start a new chapter and devoted much of his life to the cause of civil rights. And Dad went on to write much of the enforcement language behind the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This is one of the greatest achievements in human rights in our country's history. It's actually an achievement for which we've celebrated the 50th anniversary this year. So there are a lot of memories of stories my dad told me that I'm reliving this summer. And it was actually reading through my father's papers after he passed away a few years ago that I started thinking about that fundamental question of what fraction of your life you spend in service to your fellow man. And that's when I decided to give up my career in science and to get into this nasty sport of public service, as politics is practiced in our country today. How about that, Mayor? But, you know, you may take a different path, you graduates, maybe volunteering on the weekends or helping out with an after-school program. But I believe it's important for every one of us to ask that question, and what am I going to do to help my fellow man? And so I'm proud to know you graduates today and to see how hard you've worked. I'd just like to take a moment to highlight your individual accomplishments. Ellis Cotton did not let a mistake that he'd made define who he was going to be for the rest of his life. He had worked hard to restart his life, starting as a van driver with Fairview Community After School Program to a full-time position with Parmar Security. And he just told me he's using his money in escrow to get a truck driver's license, which is got to be as fine a use of that money as I can imagine, given the number of truck driving firms that are complaining to me that they can't find enough truck drivers to hire, which is great. Sophia Anderson says she enrolled in the FSS program so she could earn a better life for her and her family. And while in the program, she worked her way up from cashier to manager, had the experience of starting a business, and collected over $10,000 in escrow. Melody Woods has taken the opportunity provided to her by FSS and decided to give back to her community. She now works as a case manager for the Senior Services Center in Joliet and will soon begin working on her doctorate. So, Patricia Hernandez is another graduate who has taken an interest in public service. While in the FSS program, she earned her master's degree in social work, and she now works as a mental health counselor in the Will County Health Department. These four graduates exemplify the principles that make this country great. They've not only improved their own lives, but the lives of their families and our entire community. It's stories like yours that remind me of what I'm fighting for in Washington, so thank you. I know that no matter how frustrating things can get in Washington, the people of the 11th District will always be working hard for themselves and for others, and inspiring me to help to fight for them. So thank you. I'd just like to say good luck to our graduates before they get their graduation certificates. You have the skills and the drive to do great things, and I look forward to seeing just how far you all go. Thank you all.
Yes, yep. Mr. Simulton, I too am a product of public housing. I lived at the development at Fairview, and so there is no greater privilege that I have than to go back now and serve families, because I know your stories. I know the challenges. I know how hard it is. I know that sometimes you need somebody to tell me that you can, and that you will. Somebody to tell you their own personal story of dark days, and then when there was a light of hope, that there was a mother who was a teenage mother who was kicked out of school when she was a sophomore because in the 50s, if you got pregnant, you didn't take your baby to school with you. You were considered unclean. Move away. This was a mother who had a mother who told her that what happened to you then doesn't define who you can and what you will be. It's a mother who showed up at just about everything. A mother who saw when I was out of control, she said, we're going to put him in wrestling, boxing, band, everything she possibly could to keep me busy, to keep me engaged and involved, help me to build relationships with people that I otherwise wouldn't have. It was when the first class of busing happened in Joliet, and I was bused off of that hill to a segregated school, to Woodland School, where I had an opportunity to actually see white people up close. The only time I saw them before then was on television. And they got to see me. And I got to understand that we all wanted the same thing. We wanted to do better. And then those walls came down, and we opened up. A mother of 5 who now had some boys that were rough. I know what it's like for some of you single mothers with them boys, because me alone should have been a problem. But yeah, I had an older brother and 2 other sisters, and I'll say this. One of those sisters now has a PhD at the University in Huntsville, Alabama. Another sister works for Lockheed, travels all over the world doing things. 2 brothers who have a gospel recording group, and you got a son that's a social services coordinator with the Housing Authority. That's my mother, you all, Reverend Genevieve Brown. She's always been there to encourage and inspire me, and she still does. You would think I was still 12. But we have to have that support of our families. We have another great friend of ours here. He's the state representative, my state representative here for this area. When given a call to see if he could be informed and advised, he said, yes, I'll be there. But a couple of days later, he said, I want to do something even more. I want to get gift certificates to some of these graduates. And today, I want you all to join me in welcoming our state representative here in Illinois. What's your name again? Larry Walsh, Jr.
Thanks, Dale, for remembering my name. First off, let me say thank you. It's my honor to be here. It's been my honor over the last 2.5 years to serve the residents of the 86th District in the state of Illinois, in Springfield. We don't have near the problems that Washington, D.C. does, but we've got our own share. You know, I was sitting here listening to the comments made today on the struggles that people go through, and each and every one of us has those struggles. I want to first commend the graduates that we're honoring here today for looking at those struggles and facing them head on and moving past them, and using the resources that are available to them to help them get through those struggles. We've all been in situations to where we don't know how we're going to make it through, and somebody stands up and lends that helping hand, lends that hand up. I've been there. I know people in my family have, and a lot of my neighbors and many of the constituents that I represent have been in that same boat. And that's something that you know, we together here in Joliet build as a community. That's what I love about my district and the city of Joliet is we do come together. We see it day in and day out, whether I'm here today at our university, St. Francis, or if I'm down at Joliet Junior College, or if I'm at Cornerstone Services or Trinity Services or United Cerebral Palsy. These organizations that we have around here help our neighbors, help our friends make that hand up. You know, there's some folks, and I don't want to get too political here, but there's some folks that say, you know what, grab yourself from the bootstraps and pull yourself up. There's the obstacles there don't allow that. That's what we're here to do, is work together with our neighbors, with our friends, to build that community, to make it stronger, and then to turn around and give back. That's what I like to do. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've been fortunate in my life, and it's time for me to stand up and say, hey, what can I do to give back to my community? And that's why I'm here today. So with that being said, congratulations to all the graduates. It's a blanket certificate, but it is heartfelt. I know the struggles that many people go through. I hear it day in and day out as I'm walking door to door and talking to my constituents. And I just, again, want to commend each and every one of you for taking that step and working diligently to achieve the goals that you set for yourselves. So with that, from the 98th General Assembly, the House of Representatives, we're acknowledging each and every one of you: Melody Woods, Patricia Hernandez, Sophia Anderson, and Ellis Cotton, for your graduation from the Housing Authority of the Joliet's Family Self-Sufficiency Program. I commend you on your dedication and hard work that led to your success, and I further express my best wishes and personal happiness and professional achievement, celebrated on this day, July 26, 2014, offered by myself, Representative Lawrence M. Walsh, Jr., and it's signed by Michael Madigan, Speaker of the House, and Timothy Mapes, Clerk of the House. So to each and every one of you, a heartfelt congratulations. Give yourself a hand.
We've got another special, again, I want to give a big hand to our host here, the University of St. Francis. They've given us this room and this opportunity at no cost at all to us. Again, thank you, University of St. Francis. Nancy Pullman for helping out, and Maribel, the staff here at the University of St. Francis, for what they've done. We've also got another one of our community partners here. There's a new food place in town. It's called Hands of Hope, and Linda Lasota is here from there, and we want to thank you. They've given some gifts to our graduates as well that'll also be in their packets. With that, I'd like to call up our graduates. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to read through their bios. I will not do that to you, I promise. So first of all, we'd like to call up our graduate, Mr. Ellis Cotton. Ellis increased his income about 2,000%, and it's going to go even higher once he gets this truck driving job. We'll make it happen. Stay there, Ellis. We're going to get a big, big group picture after everyone's done. Up next, we have Miss Sophia Anderson. Sophia. Please stay here, please. Sophia had her own business. Is that your sister you were in business with? Little Cutie Pie Industries? Y'all did a little cutie. But again, she increased her income, her earned income, and her skills, and took home about $10,000 in her escrow check. Here you are, Sophia. You stand here, please. Thank you. You know, just like, I don't know, sometimes parents, they hate to say that they have favorites and stuff. You know what I mean? But there are some people that just stayed more in contact and did things that I just could not believe. In fact, this one was our first participant, and we've sat and we've cried together, we've celebrated together. I could see her working 2 jobs on occasion to keep her income up. I dealt with her when she was dealing with we worked together with her son when we had issues with the son, a special opportunity to do that, and she is Miss Patricia Hernandez. Patricia, Patty. And certainly not finally, is a participant who now is a colleague of mine. She's now a colleague of mine, and I called her and asked her about resources that are out there and available in the community. She currently works with Senior Services Center. She increased her income an amazing amount, and she's got plans even moving forward, as she's currently been accepted into the PhD program here at Joliet University, and that would be Miss Melody Woods. Here you go, Patty. Patty. Here you are. On behalf of the Housing Authority of Joliet and the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, I want to thank you for coming to today's event and celebrating our graduates. The waiting list is open now. There are going to be opportunities for another 5 families who are interested in doing the work that's going to be required to be a success. And now I charge you all with coming back and giving back. Have an opportunity to help others, because we truly know that we truly do receive when we give. And don't you all leave, because I want a picture with you too. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you all. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. We have food out for our reception. And for final comments, our executive director, Mr. Simonton.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good.
Thank you. Well, as we assemble to leave, I was quickly reminded of, again, I hear it a lot when people are talking about this journey that people are on to get to where they are. And I would suggest to the graduates and maybe anyone else in the room that is so feel that it's necessary to develop a personal constitution or a mission statement, if you will. I had a mission statement that I always referred back to when things got a little crazy. And it's a quote from the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 3. It says that, "Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified." And whenever I feel like taken advantage of or something like that, I have to remember that Bible verse is a part of my Constitution. And it brings me back to center, and it brings me back to one of servanthood. And I would say to all of the graduates that if you have an opportunity to serve, you should do so. No greater love than that, than to serve. And with that, I want to thank everyone, our distinguished guests that were here, and Dale. Great job, Dale. It's one thing to know where your gift is and stay there, right? I also want to thank Mark Jakowski, who was kind of like the architect of the FSS program for the Housing Authority of Joliet. Mark, good job setting that thing up. You can tell where his passion is. And Lisa Johnson, who is not here, and John Chow were the ones who, the hospitality group that kind of coordinated a lot of this stuff. So with that, I thank you all again. All right? Be safe.